All right, what's good, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today, what I want to talk about is DeFi, as decentralized finance, and it's probably the hottest trend happening in crypto right now. There's some people that just heard that and rolled their eyes. Maybe Bitcoin maximalists don't like it. You have some people that are actually quite excited about it. And at the beginning of the year, when I was thinking about trends that would actually be bullish for ETH or that actually would propel ETH as much as the ICO craze did back from 2017, 2018, DeFi just didn't do it for me. I didn't quite get how that could be so powerful. But if you look at how the tokens and the protocols have done for the past 7 days, 30 days, and 90 days, you have things like Lend, Kyber, Loopring, Bancor, Maker, and Melon protocol. In the past 7 days, all up 25 to 60%. In the past 30 days, up from 50 all the way to 300%. In the past 3 months, they're all up at least 2x, some up 4x. That's versus Bitcoin, right? So this is pretty ridiculous how hot this investment trend has been. I want to break it down, so stick around for the intro. We're going to be looking at DeFi, whether or not it has legs, what I thought before, and what it looks like the people that were bullish on DeFi are becoming right about. I'll break it all down. Stick around right after the intro.
A wonderful electronic invention I want you to see. It looks something like this.
All right, so check this out. When you enter the year 2020 and you're trying to think to yourself, what is actually going to force alts to do well, right? ICOs are kind of gone. Even the IEOs have faded out. There aren't massive amounts of retail coming in. In my opinion, the only thing that's going to make alts do well for an extended period of time is Bitcoin doing so well that it does attract new people into the space, new retail money, new individuals, right? Friends telling friends, or people see how much money can be made. I think stocks and what's happening there are a great example in the Robinhood craze. But let's get back to crypto. So what would cause alts to do well? If Bitcoin can do so well that it attracts new money, all of a sudden, just like what we saw in 2017 and 2018, people start saying, well, Bitcoin's really expensive. It's already ran. Maybe I can make more money buying this thing. And they look at the altcoin. Maybe they look at a cheap altcoin, or maybe they look at a trend of altcoins that are doing well. I'm not saying that's right, but that's generally what happened. I think that leads to alts doing quite well. That still hasn't happened. We haven't had a Bitcoin run that's really blown people's faces off. It has certainly not brought in new retail interest. And if you kind of want to verify that for yourself, just look at YouTube or Twitter, whatever it is, those engagement numbers. I think that's a good metric for whether or not new people are coming in. In 2017, 2018, people's numbers were blowing up. That just still hasn't happened yet. If anything, I still think we're losing people, which is okay. But let's get back to this. Why does it matter? Because you're trying to determine if there is going to be a trend or a way that you can play alts and which alts are going to do well, right? Which kind of theme is going to do well? Which sector is going to do well? What's the trend going to be? And the trend that's emerged lately is those DeFi projects. I flashed that chart in the intro. I'm going to flash it again. But before we actually get into any of those individual projects, DeFi was around before the start of the year. In fact, some of these projects have been around for a year or two, but it wasn't a narrative that really took hold and definitely didn't convince me. I don't know if it convinced you, but it didn't convince me at the beginning. The difference with ICO and that ICO craze of Ethereum is people had to buy ETH to participate in these ICOs. It was a gold rush. You could basically make money buying anything. It's probably why so many tokens did so terribly, as some of that money just kind of floods out of those dead projects or out of those projects that aren't doing anything at all, right? So there's a total unwinding effect of all the people that were chasing ICOs, and now people were saying, what's going to pump ETH if you don't have to buy into ICOs? That's a large reason I think Ethereum did so well. The next narrative or theme that people talked about was DeFi. And as I looked at it, I said, well, that's not, too attractive to the average person. In fact, you have to be quite good at even understanding what's happening here, how to use a wallet, how to use some of these. The interface for most of them is terrible, very niche kind of product, very small audience at the beginning, right? So I was thinking, how is that really going to help ETH? Or how are these protocols going to do that well? I've been proven wrong. And one of the things that I didn't consider, Su Zhu brought up, and I think this is a really good point, and it has me thinking a lot more, kind of changing my perspective on DeFi. He said this: people commenting that DeFi is less explosively a bullish catalyst for ETH than ICOs, I was in that group, are forgetting the fact that DeFi is an incrementally accretive and sustainable trend while ICOs are not. And that's true. ICOs weren't. And that's a large reason I think a lot of the money just evaporated from those ICOs, and token projects had to sell their ETH to try to survive. And people were looking for this new catalyst for ETH. And I was saying, look, what's going to cause a ton of people to buy ETH, right? The gold rush of ICOs did. The difference here that I didn't really take into account is even though DeFi maybe isn't as exciting, especially to the average person, especially to the newcomer to crypto, they're not going to understand what DeFi is. They're not going to understand what this new token does. They're definitely not going to understand how to use it. But the difference is, like ICOs were a pump in, And very quickly, you'd realize that was the gold rush. That was the trade. You'd flip your tokens, you're out. You don't really care what the project does. DeFi is really going to kind of compound and build on itself. So even if the hype does start small, I think it is a much more sustainable trend, as he says, than ICOs were. So you can start to see, as momentum grows for some of these, why people are piling on. Now, maybe they're piling on too quick, and we're going to see kind of a wave effect of, ooh, we got too ahead of ourselves, these things have to dial back. But I do think it's at least making me think differently about this momentum for DeFi projects. Now, let's look at some of that momentum. One of the ways you can measure how this momentum is growing on the DeFi narrative or on the DeFi trend is looking at the USD value that's actually locked in these DeFi protocols. It's growing fast, and it's also growing, like I said, in a sustainable trend. It's not a pop like we saw with ICOs and then people investing into that ICO and dumping that ICO. It is a constant move higher. We do have spikes, but we've been moving that way ever since 2017. It's really starting to accelerate here in 2020. But the metric that everyone cares about is how are these things performing? I flashed that chart. I want to make sure it gets correct credit from the tweeter. It was from Tafar. And this is the chart that he shared, and I showed at the very beginning. The performance of these things has been insane. Far better than I would have expected. I think far better than maybe even ETH and DeFi bulls would have expected. And it's people coming to the realization that if this is a sustainable trend, as they move in, maybe they can get ahead of that. And if ETH isn't going to move as much, maybe the DeFi projects will, right? That's going to be the big question, is does this value actually accrue to ETH? I just did an interview with Kyle Samani. I recommend you watch it. Click the link right above my head. He talks about why, and he's very bullish on DeFi and ETH, why it's not so clear that actually leads to positive trends for ETH, but it does mean the DeFi projects will do quite well. Another project that's getting considerable attention, I think it's probably getting the most attention in the entire space token-wise, is Compound. It's one of the projects that Coinbase considered listing. It looks like they will be listing, and that's valued at almost a $900 million or $1 billion market cap. You can see all the DeFi projects on DeFi Pulse. I'll link it right down below. Here's a chart showing them all anyways. So as you're looking at this and you're saying, how the hell do I get involved? Is this a trend that's going to last? Is it like ICOs? My answer is this. Maybe we're getting too ahead of ourselves. They are rising very, very fast. But if you're wondering why people are buying in, I think it's people buying into the idea that this is a more sustainable trend than ICOs. It's a narrative that actually does have legs so far in 2020. I didn't even think it would have this much legs. So it's impressive that people are tacking on to the idea that this is sustainable. If you want to track those top projects, like I said, they're on DeFi Pulse. It's a great way to keep up with them. I'm going to try to have on more guests to the podcast so we can dig into which protocols, which ideas actually make sense, actually do have a chance at more appreciation versus the ones that are hot air. Anyways, here's a little intro. It's why DeFi is so hot. It at least probably gets your mind thinking. I'll have more on this later. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Hit the subscribe button so I can keep making these every single day. I'm going to have a couple coming out today, and we'll get back to daily videos as well. Drop a comment. Let me know who you want to see on next to the podcast or to this show, what kind of topics you want covered. All that stuff helps me a ton, so smash the like and subscribe. One more thing before I let you go. I've partnered up with Crypto.com, and they're helping me make these videos every single day or every single week. I want to bring you the top crypto news, trades, trends, whatever it might be. And in turn, you also get to see me going through the process, getting the benefits and the rewards from Crypto.com's app. So hopefully you get the app as well. The link is right down below to download it. You can open it on your iPhone or Android or whatever it is phone you have. Right here when you first open the app, and I'm still getting set up, so you can see I have $0 in it. But when I do have money in there and my card is on the way as well, they have a crypto Visa card. So you can spend your crypto or you can hold it if you want. You also earn interest on your crypto that you hold in this app. There's a ton of coins you can deposit and earn interest with. They have an exchange that lets you buy crypto right here with your app. You can hook up your fiat accounts, so many things, and I'm gonna be walking through all of them once I do get set up. The first thing you need to do is download the app. Thanks Crypto.com for sponsoring, and thank all of you for watching. See you guys next time.